And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the finale of the Chrischan and Kaceys Father call. We've been here for 10 parts now, watching Chris lie and just say whatever he can to get out of the grasp of Kaceys father. But we are over 2 hours into the call, and Chris is still firmly in Matthew's grasp. He hasn't been able to get out of any of this shit. He's been trying to weasel his way out, lie, say whatever he can, and he's just been called out on all of his stuff. It's not been a fun time for Chris, and these last 15 minutes are just another cringe-inducing, really hard to listen to back and forth between Chris and Kaceys father. So with that being said, where we left off was Kaceys father asking Chris if he ever had been out on a date before, and Chris said that yes he have, but that girl just wasn't all that into him. And in response, Casey's dad asks Chris if he has any idea why this girl wouldn't be into him, and Chris tells him honestly no, he can't think of a single idea. So that's where we left off, and we'll pick up here. But if you guys have made it through all 10 of these, I want to thank you very much for watching all of them, and it's important to remember, this is real to Chris, but Casey's dad and Kacey are trolls.
I can honestly say that I cannot.
I mean, you can't think of maybe... I could think of a couple reasons right off the bat why a girl would not have been into you. I mean, I didn't even need to think about it. I mean, you can't even take them on a real date.
I took her on a real date. Took her to Applebee's, and I paid for her for what she ate and what she drank there.
You paid for her.
Yeah.
How much? And how much was that?
That was about $10.
$10.
Yeah.
To really show you that Chris doesn't put effort into anything, this little chat about him only spending $10 at Applebee's on his date is just perfect, because it shows that even the one thing Chris really wanted, a girl, he was only willing to spend like $10 on them, and that's because he doesn't really have an idea on how dating and all works. Like, for fuck's sake, Chris's whole idea of where he would take a girl on his first date would be like McDonald's or Arby's or something. But I'm pretty sure this date that Chris is talking about, we brought it up in the last episode, but he's talking about someone named Farron, who I guess trolls set them up together, and I believe somewhere, I don't know where it is, but Chris had said that he only paid $10 for her and didn't even eat himself. He just paid for her and just kind of sat there. So, you know, he would spend money on video games and all this other stuff, but he really wasn't willing to dig too deep to try to get a girl. Once again, we always say this, it's Chris, there's no reason to try to make sense of this stuff. I just thought it was pretty funny to bring that up.
That's $10 for dinner. Are you sure you just didn't go to McDonald's again?
No, this was Applebee's, and Kim was there. She could tell you the same. She could tell you the same thing.
So where would you take Kacey? You know, she's a pretty high class girl. I mean, I'm sure you probably didn't even tip.
I'm sorry, I did not understand the second half of that sentence after you said Kacey is a high-class girl.
See, I don't know if it's the reception of the phone or Chris just not listening, but this is like one of many instances in the call where Chris has to stop and be like, wait a minute. Can you repeat what you just said there?
You probably didn't. I said you probably didn't even tip. And so where exactly are you going to take Kacey?
Oh yes, I did tip.
Do you even know how much you're supposed to tip?
About 15 or 20%.
So how much did you tip then? If you paid $10,
I tipped $1.50.
Really?
Yes.
That's still pretty cheap. Yeah, Kacey probably wouldn't like that if you tipped her that much. I mean, she's a waitress, right? Tips are pretty important to waitresses.
Yep, I understand that. Tips are important. But still, 15% of 10 is $1.50.
That's true.
This is another one of those instances where the guy playing Casey's dad really thinks he has Chris here, and he doesn't expect Chris to actually know how much the tip was. And I also do assume that Chris did tip that $1.50 just because he said it pretty quickly and didn't have to think about it, because he probably just thought back to, oh yeah, I did tip $1.50. Now, obviously, that's cheap, like Casey's dad points out, but like Chris points out, that wasn't the question Casey's dad was asking. He was asking, what's 15% of $10, which is $1.50, so Chris is right there. But this is, like, for the next minute or two, you start to notice Casey's dad just starting to... I feel like he's starting to give up and just trying to accuse Chris of things here, because it seems like he had material ready for Chris not knowing this stuff, but Chris knowing it kind of threw him all off base. So let's just, you'll get what I'm saying when we listen to this next part.
Okay, so how much would you get? How much would you tip if you paid, say, $80 for dinner, which is very possible if you go to the kind of places Kacey likes to go?
That is such a self-own towards his fabricated daughter.
Let's see. That would be about $12.
So you would just pay $12. You wouldn't go up to, like, you wouldn't even just toss him a 20 or something. You even do math.
See, like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, Chris, to be fair, Chris did do the correct math. It's, now you're just grilling him for an entirely separate topic, which is not tipping like a 20 and just tipping the actual 15%. Now, look, if I go out to eat, yeah, I'll toss the people at 20, 25. I know how it feels to work in the restaurant industry. It sucks. But it's one of those things he can call Chris out on and get away with, because Chris isn't going to, like, he's not going to comprehend it enough to be able to clap back with something witty. And as you're about to see, Chris, he's just going to make it worse for himself.
Well, I cannot say that my family is of the high-class, hoity-toity, rich type of people. We are on average income.
For him to use that excuse after spending thousands upon thousands of dollars on Legos and toys is such a joke, but it's Chris. You can't expect him to think any differently.
You could at least... they're not rich either. I mean, they still left at 20.
You see, once again, I don't know what Casey's dad's talking about here. Like, who is the they he's talking about? Because the context in which that question was asked was, Chris, if you took her out and you spent $80, how much would $15 of 80 be? And if he's saying they don't make much money either in regards to the waitresses, I guess, but then why would that make sense when he said they left at 22? I just don't get this whole thing. Maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but I'm fried. This kind of stumped me.
Well, good for them.
You're not even on an income. I mean, income would be like, you actually have a job. God, man, Chris treats her so much better than you. Shows her so much more respect.
Yeah, well, I gave you respect throughout the beginning of the conversation.
You've given me nothing.
And then I started to feel insulted from being talked down about the honest details I talked about, and that she told you, like, about the McDonald's and the video games and that sort of thing, when I am so much better than that.
Yeah, the majority of this call has been Chris defending himself against mostly those two topics, his eating habits and how much he plays video games. And I mean, video games can tie into everything, just how lazy he is. And when he says that he's so much more than that, he obviously has no proof or anything to show for being more than that. But to him, he can just say it because in Chris's own head, he genuinely thinks like these chores he does, the Sonichu comics, all that is like arduous, horrible work. And it's Chris's quote-unquote experience that Matthew knows nothing about.
And I have not seen any of this. Because it probably doesn't exist.
It does exist.
I mean, telling the truth isn't... It's not made of, Pokemans and all that.
It is not.
Even at this point into the call, over 2 hours in, I still think Chris has this idea in his mind that if he agrees with some of the shit that Kacey's dad says just by saying, like, yes it is, or, just stuff like that he thinks at one of these points the dad's just gonna kind of be like, wow, Chris, you really are as good as you say you are. Because that's how it would go in his comic books.
I mean, and how are you better than all this? I mean, you're doing this is. I mean, you're doing exactly. You're just doing just that. You're just talking about stupid fucking Pokemans and shit. I mean, that's all I'm really getting about you is you do nothing but what exactly you have said.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
you
we're
need to
just
be
gonna-
better, not say you could be better.
At least I am honest when I say I could be better. At least I don't go about lying, pretending that I am an astronaut.
You're not.
That's
You're
right.
not being honest.
No, I have been honest. Otherwise, I would have said that I was an astronaut, but that would be lying. And I have not been lying in this conversation.
See, what Chris sees as a lie is if he were to come into this phone call and tell Kacey's father, yeah, I'm a stockbroker, I got real estate all up and down the West Coast, my name's Christian Chandler, nice to meet you, sir, that would be a lie. But sitting here telling Kacey's dad all this stuff, just saying, nope, I really do that, that's just defending himself in the eyes of Chris. Chris's idea of honesty is just saying the nicest things you can say about a person. And that's why when he says he's being honest, that's because he's trying to think of the nicest things he can say about himself. There's been parts of this call where he says that, your dad's he's not accepting my honest facts, he's just looking at the bad things and not the honest things. So, when Chris says he's been telling the truth this whole call, we all have listened to it. If you're 10 parts in now, you know damn well that Chris has lied every chance he can get in this phone call.
Would have been a pretty bad lie, too.
I know, but that's just an example off the top of my head at the moment.
You don't even have the eyes to be an astronaut. I mean, come on. You have the weight. You especially don't have the weight.
God, how funny would it have been if Chris said, well, sir, not to be a dick or anything, but a lot of this advice you're giving me, you should have given this to your own daughter. And also, I don't know how many times Chris is about to do this, and I don't know what I find so funny about it, but over the next 5 minutes, every time Chris feels really awkward, he just kind of takes a deep pause and responds with, well?
Well, I'll just say that this has been the most experiencing conversation, and I wish you a pleasant evening. Take care, Mr. Devoria, and stay safe. And please give my most fondest regards to Kacey as well. I love her, and I care about her very much.
Don't you hang up on me. When did I say that this conversation was over?
Well,
as I brought up in the beginning, you can see Chris trying to get out of that grasp so bad. He's got one foot out the door, picking the second one up, just about to step it down, but Kacey's dad pulls him right back in. And the only thing Chris can respond with is another somber, well, and yeah, like I said, he really thought he was going to get away from this, but not yet, Chris. He's still got another 10 minutes left.
You continue the insult, and I'm getting tired of the insults. I feel like I need to go take a shower and get ready to sleep. I mean, we are in the same time zone. It's 10 after 2 right now.
Yeah, actually, that's fine. You can go whine and you can weasel your way out of this. You don't even deserve my daughter. I mean, what are you gonna do after this? What are you gonna do tomorrow? You're gonna get up, sleep. You're gonna get up and play video games again. That's.
I would not be that way. I'm going to get up, and I'm going to be finding a job in the office. and I am going to be jogging for 15 to 30 minutes.
It goes without being said, but Chris did none of these things. I damn sure guarantee you he probably went to sleep, woke up the next morning, and just gamed so heavy to get all that stress off of his mind. And as you'll see when we wrap this up, Chris did something completely different the next day. And it's not really too exciting, but it's poetic considering what was said in this phone call. But yeah, Chris, just the fact that Chris really said he's gonna go to sleep, get up, and look for an office job and jog 15 to 30 minutes, he probably never thought of any of that again after he hung up this phone call. All that's just being said to try to push this dude away and get him off his back.
I don't believe in. You know what Casey's gonna do? She's gonna go to school and she's gonna call Chris back. That's what she's going to do.
Well, that's what you think she's going to do. You do not control her.
Something that I've neglected to bring up throughout this entire call is that Chris really thinks that Kacey is... It seems like he thinks that Kacey's in love with him, even though all Kacey calls prior to this and everything, she's made it pretty known that she's still in love with Liquid Chris. And despite all that, when Liquid's brought up in this conversation, really anytime Liquid's brought up, Chris constantly shuts that down, talks about how he's better than Liquid and how Kacey she's much happier with him than she'd ever be Liquid. Now, it's Chris, so you obviously know that he's going to think of himself as the better man each time. But just hearing Chris say, you cannot control her, when if it was up to Kacey, she'd most likely go back to Liquid. Then again, these are all trolls, so I don't know why my high ass is trying to make sense out of this bullshit.
Because you know why she's going to do that? It's because he's the one she wants. You know that song that she made for Chris? She made it for her. She made it for him. Not you. And you know that song, that whole new world from that Disney movie. Yeah, she made that for him.
No, she told me she made that for me.
Oh, no, she didn't.
Oh, yes, she did.
I swear I could listen to these two go back and forth all day. But have you guys ever seen those videos of them two singing A Whole New World? I haven't seen them in years, but it's just Chris doing his, tone deaf screeching. It's pretty funny.
I think I know my daughter a little better than you do.
Well,
he even sang it for her. I mean, what really made you think it was for you?
Because she told me so herself.
She told me that she made it for him. Unless you're saying she's lying.
I am not saying she's lying.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the reason Chris thinks that Kacey asked him to sing that song with her is because this was around the time when Chris had a profile and was faking being Liquid Chris, wouldn't show his face on camera, but claimed to be Kacey's Liquid Chris. And it's either that or Kacey did just tell Chris that, and the dad's just fucking with him, trying to manipulate him a little bit.
Because
I saw that video. You didn't even know the lyrics of that song. You had to look it up. You could. I could see the paper in your hand, and you had to sing over the words. You didn't even get the karaoke version or something. How could you possibly have known the lyrics?
I love how this is broken down into Kacey's dad giving Chris a critique about his Whole New World music video he made. And it's also funny considering that Chris never mentions to bring up, when did you see the video of me singing this? You just brought up that you barely know how to work computers, yet you've seen all my YouTube videos.
I have watched the Aladdin movie a whole number of times. I would say greater than 10 times in my lifetime at this point.
The way Chris says he's watched Aladdin over 10 times in his life at this point sounds like he's putting it out there as some type of resume for why he would have known the song. But I believe I've seen that video of Chris singing the Aladdin shit too. He does have the words in his hand.
And you know how I know that was made for him and not you? because that song was their song. They know it by heart. And that has always been their song.
Okay.
You know they were going to sing it to each other at their wedding.
Now, I assume anyone watching this video knows that Liquid and Kacey, the troll who plays Kacey, are married in real life. Now, nobody knows about these people, and I wouldn't suggest going out of your way to try to find out about these people, but after hearing that, you gotta wonder, did they sing A Whole New World at their wedding? Because if they did, it's just, things come full circle.
I see.
Well, this is really... well, this has really been enlightening. Learning that, learning about, you know, just how unworthy a person could be for my daughter. How much of a... You know, I have to congratulate you, though, because you totally did a great job at getting Kacey and Chris back together.
And now Kacey's dad is getting his final digs in at Chris, letting him know, like, the worst type of stuff Chris could possibly want to know, that Kacey and Liquid are back together, because he doesn't want to see his enemy Liquid in any type of happiness, knowing that he's unworthy for Kacey. Just now he's throwing all the bullshit at Chris, because I'm pretty sure Kacey's about to get on the line here, and we're going to have to wrap this up.
Seriously, Chris, how could you? You've been so insulting to my father and everything. Chris would never have done this. Maybe I did make a wrong decision. But I don't think I can do this.
God, her voice is like nails on a chalkboard. You know, I had people in my comments before bringing up, oh, you don't like Kacey because she's a woman. And to that I say, the girl Kim Wilson who was there for the Pickle Man stuff is funny. So why couldn't Kacey do that? Kacey just sucks, man. Like, it doesn't have anything to do with who she is. She just, her voice, all of it, just boo. Boo, Kacey, boo.
Maybe I was thinking of him all along. Maybe I just displaced things. I can't believe you would do this. I was crying, and all you did was argue with my father. You didn't even care to get him to check on me or see if you could talk to me. Chris would never have done that. Chris would have demanded to talk to me right away, and he would have calmed me down.
See, I gotta be honest, right here, I think Kacey has a good point, because it really does show that Chris doesn't care about her that much, that he'll keep arguing with her dad and not ask about how Kacey's doing this whole time, considering she's the girl he's trying to get. Like, if this was Miss Smokey and I knew she was all upset and shit, I wouldn't care who I'm arguing with. I'm trying to get to my girl. But the thing is, that's not his girl. And he's trying to make it his girl, not doing a very good job at it, but, you know, when you're not officially, like, a thing, it's kind of weird to be like, hey, put your daughter on the phone right now so I can talk to her, dude.
I mean, obviously you misunderstood me.
I guess maybe I did.
You know what? I don't want you. I don't want this. I don't need this right now. I have so much going on with finals and everything, and this is the way you're going to act? Yeah, my dad's right. You're going to have to do something huge. I mean, you can't even work on the comic you promised me. You made me a stupid little Big Planet thing. Where the hell's the comic, Chris? You know what? You probably still won't make it. So, you know what? I can't do this. You need to totally reform your life. I mean, Chris would have come by. He would have driven the 2 hours just to comfort me once he heard I was crying.
Yeah, well, if I knew where you were, I would have driven 2 hours as well. But I did not.
You know you won't. You always want me to come to you. It's stupid.
I mean, I would have asked. I mean, I did ask you for your address, but then, and I did ask you for your phone number. So you
And
have
I
to get your
told you
parents-
that you can't get it until you get my parents to trust you because you know they're overprotective. And you think this is the way you do it?
There is so much going on right now. There's too much to unpack. The only thing that really stuck out to me there is obviously she's not going to give her real phone number and address to Chris because they're trolls. You know, the one thing is, though, I do think Chris probably would have driven the 2 hours. You've seen before that he was willing to drive all the way to Cleveland, Ohio for a fake girl. If Kacey proved that she really wanted Chris, he probably would have driven up there. But I don't know. Like I'm just kind of lost now. She's just yelling about shit.
I bet you're not even going to finish the comic. You can't even finish it tonight. Or anything. You can't do anything.
I can so.
Well, obviously you're not motivated enough because you haven't done anything like that. Like, you promised me a song a long time ago. Never got it. Chris has written me, like, 3 songs. You promised me tons of things. You never keep your promises. You just sit around playing video games. You made a stupid little Big Planet thing for me. I mean, come on. All I wanted was the damn comic. All I wanted was you just to pay attention. You don't even pick up the phone anymore because of the trolls, because of the stress. I can't do this. I want a real man.
And you can see, even after this whole phone call, the motive here is to still try to get more Sonic Chew comic books out of Chris. Now, I don't know what in particular she wanted him to draw, but obviously, you know, Chris was a little too lazy to get it done, and that's enough here to just break it all up. Now, it's funny that Kacey's not mad about, like, Chris disrespecting her grandmother, disrespecting her father, disrespecting 9/11, disrespecting everything. What she's mad about is his laziness to draw a new Sonic comic, Chris's laziness to write a song for her, and Chris's lame gift of a Little Big Planet level. She's quite materialistic, if I must say so myself.
You see, you can't even say anything. Dad, I think you're totally right.
Yeah, don't tell him where we live. I don't want my name and number. No, I don't want him to know my name and number.
See, look what you've done, Chris. Look what you've done.
I'm sorry.
It's not like you're going to do anything to make up for it. So you know what? I don't even care. Dad, you can do whatever. That's all he could say. I'm done.
I don't know. I don't think I want to get in trouble.
He's not, Chris.
You know,
Screw this.
I don't want to get in trouble for beating the shit out of this kid anyway.
I'm going to go. This is too much for me. You can finish this off, Dad.
I'm sorry. Have a safe, good evening.
So, what are you going to do now?
Well, before I give my final thoughts, what did Chris do after that? Well, remember when Kacey said that after she would have broken off things with him, he wouldn't have cared at all? He probably would have cried for a little bit and then he would have gotten over it the next day. Well, that's exactly what happened, because Chris posted a video crying his eyes out, telling Kacey that he loved her, and then about like 24 hours later, he was giddy that he got a fake copyright to Sonichu from the Virginia Library of Congress. So, you know, they hit the nail right on the head with how Chris was going to turn out. He didn't do anything that the dad had told him to do. He didn't jog. He didn't ever get a job again. Even though this call was 13 years ago, still, we are in 2022. Chris never got a job, and he's currently in jail. So, you know, things ended up pretty good for Chris, all things being said, I guess. This call, in my opinion, is one of the most entertaining things in all of Chris's backlog, because really it shows the type of person Chris is to a T. He'll deny everything that is almost proven fact about him just to try to get away and weasel out of any situation he's in. Now, as I've said in every single one of these, it's Chris. We can't make sense of this stuff because it is Chris and it's nonsensical, but at the same time, it's just so interesting to sit here, laugh about this shit, and just kind of think, wow, like, he really did think he was like this all-perfect being, and anything this dad said to him was just like, nah, dude, you got me all wrong. You really don't know the type of person I truly am. Which is a constant with a lolcow. They cannot see the flaws in themselves, and Chris he's the biggest example of that I can think of, maybe next to Ethan Ralph. But yeah, what a phone call this was. And so Chris and Casey's whole thing was broken up after this, basically, as you can see there. And as I brought up a little while ago, Kacey then went on to real life marry the guy Liquid Chris. So, you know, it's amazing how the world works sometimes. And that's that. You know, this was a fun thing to cover, and we're definitely going to cover some more classic Chris shit, and we'll have to decide what that is. Probably the Alec Benson Leary calls next, but when we get to that, we'll get to that. But this has been real fun to do, and it's a call now that I probably won't listen to for years to come since I just covered it here, but I'm happy you guys stuck for it this whole ride. If you've really enjoyed it, like a lot of you guys told me you have, I hope you enjoy this, and I hope you're ready for what we do next. So, with that being said, I want to give a shout out to Holly, Sky, Tyler, Krabby, your mom, Vanessa, Liz Vendor. You guys are all goats. And all of you who've really made it this far and have watched all these, you guys are goats too. And I really can't thank you enough for all the support you've shown. The likes, the comments, just anything you guys have said, thank you. I like knowing what you guys are thinking about, and I just like the community we've built here, guys. So, other than that, you know, I'm going to get out of here. It's almost the weekend. I want you guys to just chill out, kick back, have a great rest of your week, and be safe, guys. I'll see you all in the next one, and take care.